How is it really to live across 3 countries and be back to my roots? If you're ready to be mind blown and shift your perspective on the world entirely, let's get into this video. I've lived in Poland, where I was born and raised, for 18 years. Then I moved to England, where I lived almost over 7 years. And then I lived for around 7 months in Budapest, Hungary. And now I'm back to Poland, where I'm reflecting. I've already made a video of pros and cons in living in London that you can check out there. Then I made a video about pros and cons of living in Budapest that you can see right there too. And then I compared London and Budapest in one of the videos too, that you can of course check it on my channel. I haven't done a video where I'm comparing 3 countries yet, but stay tuned for that. But today I want to share what personally I've learned through gathering this perspective, multicultural and multinational perspective, and how it opened my eyes about how I interpret the world right now. Because if you are the person that moved out somewhere and you've lived in another country and then you come back to your roots and of course you feel like you don't belong here anymore, the topic that I've done a video about as well, you know that you've learned so much, you developed so much, like you're not the same person at all, like you're living in a totally different universe, it feels like. And no wonder people say that travels educate, because they really do. You know, in none of those countries it's as sweet as you can imagine. It's not like one is perfect at all, and it really changes how you want to live your life from now on. But for anyone new here, I'm Justyna, I'm an occupational psychologist and accredited coach. I love optimization, which translates into optimization of not only workplace, like my career does, but also optimization of your own life and your inner power and realization of what you can and what you do and how to do it to really live your best life on your own terms and just be content generally. Not pursue some short-term pleasure, but really like a long-lasting happiness. So if this is something that you're also interested in, subscribe to this channel and let's create a community of like-minded people. First thing I've learned is definitely that nothing is that black and white. My classic saying, but it is still true. When I was moving to England in 2017, I felt like this is American dream, more like British dream, but you get it. I felt like this is the answer, this is a place where I'm going to earn a lot of money and it will just go super smooth and all the dreams of mine will be fulfilled. And you guessed it, it didn't happen that way. I still had to work for them, and it wasn't like just snapping fingers and the place Fantasyland where everything just goes smoothly. The reality chased me there anyway, and it wasn't that it's a perfect place either. It had its advantages and disadvantages, but more about that, I've already done the video of it, so please check that out because it just goes in depth about what is happening there, what is good and bad there, and really can help you to determine if this is a place for you or not. But after 7 years of living there, I just needed a change and I wanted to go somewhere else, come back to Europe. So me and my fiance, we went to Hungary and we felt like, yeah, you know, Hungary will be the answer. And you guessed it, Hungary was not the answer either. And Poland wasn't an answer either later on when we moved after 7 months. The thing is that I'm trying to say right now is that the country or the place that you're moving into right now, it's not going to solve your problems, and it's not going to be only amazing with unicorns and rainbows. It will have its advantages and disadvantages, and you will struggle in one way or another. It's not going to solve all your problems, and back in the days I was using changing location to solve my problems, because the moment I move somewhere I'm starting from scratch and it's like a blank slate and you know, I can be a totally different person, I can do totally different things, but when it comes to it, you are still the same person and you still struggle with the same things. And the location might actually add additional challenges, like adjusting to the new place, like meeting new people, like learning new systems or shops or where to go and learning so many things, and also literally starting from scratch from every single aspect of your life. So it might be a challenge, and I wouldn't anymore treat a change of location as a perfect solution for all my problems or for a brand new start to start my American, British or whatever dream you want to start. It's not going to solve anything, and it doesn't, I promise you, it doesn't seem that amazing and that sweet as it is in your imagination, because you're not taking into consideration a lot of things that you are not aware until you get there and you live there. The second thing a little bit connected with it is that we really don't appreciate the places that we live in. We focus on politics and the things that they need to be improved in this country, and we complain all the time, not only because I'm Polish and of course I love complaining, or I used to love complaining because it's a national thing to do, but also because we don't see that on the other side is not greener at all. We think that the grass is greener in the neighborhood garden, but then once we go there we realize it isn't. And I actually experienced that. I thought that in England it's amazing. Then England had its own challenges during Brexit and after Brexit and stuff like that. Then I went to Hungary and I felt like, you know, it's a European city, it's really beautiful, and all my friends, all my fiance's friends, before we moved there, they were telling us that we are going to be so in love with the place, we will absolutely love living there, because when they were on holidays there, they absolutely enjoyed their time. And guess what? They weren't right. They just weren't right, because every place has pros and cons. And now we're back in Poland, and we're actually in my hometown. And whenever I hear my family complaining about politics or how expensive the prices are for gas, for electricity, you know the drill. No matter where you are right now, in any country of the world, you can, I guarantee you can point out minimum like 3 things that you're not really happy about your country or your hometown, or the prices, or how expensive the life is in general. You feel like your country or your city is struggling with this problem and somewhere else is much better and much cheaper. I mean, according to me, comparing living in my hometown comparing to living in Budapest, it's much cheaper, but my family still complains that it is expensive because the prices increased over last couple of years. So of course for them it is more expensive, but for me, who's coming from pounds from England or forints from Budapest, it is much cheaper. You can go much farther with the same amount of money in here, and I appreciate that. And I know that there is a lot of things to complain about, and somewhere else were also things to complain about, but there is also a lot of things to appreciate, because somewhere else might some other problem be a bigger deal than it is in a place that you are currently at. So right now, where we're living here, of course we are choosing to live in this place because we have a privilege that we are working remotely, but we're also appreciating whatever is working for us in this place. And if we were in some other place, we need to make the most out of it as well. So it is much easier to live in a place where we see the positive things, rather than just putting ourselves down all the time and like, wow, we live here, it's so hard, but just find good things about it. I'm not trying to tell you to find good things just to keep being delusional and convince yourself that you want to stay in this place, but just to survive the journey and to make it more bearable for yourself. So whatever I've learned is that there is a lot of things to be grateful for and a lot of things to complain about everywhere you go, and it is not that simple. When I see my family just speaking about politics, that they should do this, they should do that, they should do this, and then the whole country will be much better, I know that it's not that easy, because maybe some other country implemented that as well, and their whole economic just went down, and now it's even worse. I can see the perspective from multiple countries and see what kind of initiatives they implemented, and I see that maybe it didn't work out however that person envisioned it. It's not always black and white, and it's not like, oh, we have the perfect solution and they should go and get it, and why they are not doing that, and why this country is so horrible. I definitely got a little bit of perspective and distance to whatever is happening out there, and just not looking at countries as a separate systems, but as people who are making mistakes and learning as we go, and the evolving life is as difficult as our own personal lives. We don't have things figured out at all, so how do we expect that countries will have everything figured out too, if they are made by people that also don't have their life figured out? Like, it just doesn't make sense. Another thing I've learned is definitely a cultural difference, or cultural differences. There is so many of them, and not counting also that my fiance is Spanish and we have our own a lot of cultural differences, but more about how in general people approach each other. In England, for example, they use a lot of please, excuse me, and they try to be polite, which might not be entirely genuine, but at least they are trying. But that also might lead to that people are not very honest with each other, and they are sugarcoating a lot of things, and at the end of the day they can't really create meaningful connections where they feel like, you feel like they are open and they talk to you really nicely, but it might not be the most genuine approach. And at the end of the day, especially if you're living in London, everyone is treated just like a number, because there's so many people out there. And then in contrast, in Poland, I feel like I have the most experience to speak about that perspective. I feel like people are very distant, very cold at first, especially if you are another Polish person. If you are an international person and you're trying to speak Polish, people are really welcoming. My fiance goes every day to the bakery just around the corner to buy a bread, and they are amazing, lovely women working there. And even though they kind of understand English and he speaks like barely Polish, they kind of make it work, and they are so lovely to one another. These women are super amazing. They are always waiting for my fiance with the specific bread that he buys every day. They have it already prepared and just give it to him, because, I mean, why not? He's trying to learn Polish and he is humble about it, and they are appreciating that somebody is kind, and they can really give kindness. But it also goes the other way. If you are mean, they will amplify your meanness, unfortunately. But the moment you get closer to a Polish person, usually they are very loyal and very sweet and very welcoming, that they will welcome you and give you literally the moon. Once my family got closer to my fiance, they really welcomed him with open arms, treating him like he's one of them. Sometimes I really feel like he gets a better treatment than I do, or maybe it's just a thing that, it happens to everyone, that their parents prefer a son they never had. Sometimes they feel like, oh my god, like this is a special bond that we have never had before, and they want to nourish it more. But it makes my job much easier, because everyone is also taking care of him, not only me translating everything. In general, you will see the differences in lifestyle and how people work. I felt like when I was living in London, everyone was of course chasing a success. They were working all the time, they were going out all the time, they needed to be out there, take advantage of the fact that they are living in London, not really taking care of friendships, because today you can meet this person and tomorrow you can meet that person, and whatever, just the pleasure, the constant pleasure, the instant pleasure is the most important thing. In Hungary, I felt that because life is so expensive and you can't really squeeze out from life a lot, you try to appreciate, of course, everything, and connections are more important, and the family is more important. But the humility of people, that they are not really dreaming at all, or dreaming big enough, or dreaming anywhere above the state that they are currently in, because perhaps they shouldn't, because they need to be more realistic. And sometimes I feel like the mindset in my hometown is quite similar, that people tell you that just get to the ground, be more realistic, aren't you too ambitious? And then you need to tell them like, whoa, like, who are you to kill my dreams? Because in my hometown you don't see that much, but definitely in Hungary, the state of life, for the money that you were getting, you couldn't really get by with enough. It was just living from one month to another month, unless of course you're earning much more or you are international person. I feel like they were directing everything into like tourists, because normal people, they would struggle. Definitely the government was giving a lot of help to Hungarian people, but it is not about only constant help, it's also about helping them to learn how to live in a better way, so then they can go out there and provide for themselves, rather than constantly give them money. You need to teach someone how to fish, not keep on giving them fish. And in Poland, for example, if I compare the Polish mindset with Spanish mindset, I think that we take everything so seriously, like so seriously. Our jobs, our life, to save, to meet all the milestones the society tells you to keep. When somebody is like wearing too bright jacket, they will look at you at the street, because it's like, what is this? It's like too brave, too extreme. And we take deadlines really seriously, discipline, being hard on ourselves. Like, this is a standard. I know this is a standard for like Slavic culture probably, but it's definitely a standard for Polish culture. And in Spain, people are chill. Today fiesta, tomorrow fiesta, all right. You know, they don't worry about it, which I think is actually sometimes healthier. But they might not take seriously relationships. Sometimes they might postpone things, they might postpone their ambition, even though maybe they don't have ambition, I don't know. Maybe they just live from one day to another, but definitely things take more time there, and they have a lot of unnecessary paperwork that we struggled with for a couple of months that doesn't just make any sense. Why would you make paperwork so hard and then complain that you need to keep on working more? If you just sorted out one thing, then we would just move on, instead of giving yourself more paperwork to later on postpone it and then get more paperwork about it. It's just like, for me, I don't get it. But it kind of translates to the fact that they want to live the most in the moment and be a little bit less serious about life, because at the end of the day, I mean, life, it is sometimes serious, but we make it very serious for ourselves when it doesn't really have to be. Everything that we stress about, it's majority of the time, it's because we created that stress. I'm not talking about external stress, like someone's health, like our family health and stuff like that, that we can't really control. But I'm talking about things that, oh, this is something that I really wanted, or I was dreaming about that, or something doesn't work out. We put on ourselves that stress that we wanted it to work out, like, oh no, now I'm going to be in a bad situation. We define the situation as a bad, rather than the opportunity to grow or to change our plans. So I've definitely learned from Spanish culture that a little bit of distance and chilling, and sometimes too much chilling, but you know, okay, the balance is the key. And the final thing that really summarizes what I've learned living across 3 countries is that I definitely want to live in one more country minimum soon, just to experience, like, there's nothing more satisfying than, and stressful, honestly, to go out there and rediscover everything and learn and just like go and experience a totally different universe of rules and societal norms. But also you realize that you need to rely on yourself, because everything around you is changing. So you're learning so much about yourself, how you deal with each situation, but also at the end of the day, you decide to rely on yourself. For example, if you have followers in Poland and then you go somewhere to England and then you need to build your followers in England, it kind of teaches you that you need to start over, and each time when you're starting over it's much easier, but it also helps you to realize that you don't need those followers or those friends specifically in this place. I unfortunately have friends across the countries, which is hard for us to meet, but definitely the borders are not a problem for us, and I don't limit myself to have friends around just because I live here, because later on I might live somewhere else. And the same with the knowledge and inspiring people and the businesses and anything. I don't have to be limited by the borders or by the countries. I can look, and I do look, at the world as the whole world, not just the place I am currently at. And I think that there is nothing more freeing than that kind of feeling, like you are not restricted. You can go here and you can go there and you'll just figure it out however you did before. And well, what? You'll just learn on the process. It's going to be hard, but you will find a way. In 1 year, we had to move from England to Hungary, and then a couple of months later, we had to move again from Hungary to Poland. How many kilometers it is from London to Budapest, and from Budapest to Poland, it took us like 12 hours drive to move. So it is an experience, but it just helps you to realize that everything is possible, and if it's not possible where you are, it is possible somewhere else. And that gives you such a power that your dreams are not too big to dream. They are probably even smaller than your full potential, so you have permission to even dream bigger. And if somebody tells you that it's not possible here, first of all, you don't have to listen to them, but if you feel like it is true, perhaps there is a place, and I guarantee you that there is a place, that this dream is possible somewhere else. And somewhere, for someone else, this dream might seem like even too small. You think that like, I want this dream, but I have this challenge, that challenge, that challenge, I have 300 challenges because somebody told me that it's not going to work out, and someone somewhere else think that like, what, there's no challenges, I have a solution for this, I have a solution for that. And the key is just to find either inspiration or someone that will see your challenge as not a challenge at all, because they have a solution for it, and your dream as a totally achievable dream. And then you go through life literally with no problems, no limits, and like, you know what, everything is possible. That's the end for today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and let me know in the comments down below what one thing you've learned if you live in another country, or what are you hoping to learn or discover or to get if you ever decide to move to another country. Share your thoughts in a comment down below. And if you like this video and you want more videos like that about how we learn to unlearn everything what we've learned before and to have the world literally open in front of us, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel for more videos like this. And I'll see you in the next video.